The story of the fisherman. When I heard this story, it made complete sense of what it means to have a strong work ethic and what it actually means when you go to work. Are you actually doing the tasks that are going to get you further to your goal? See, there's the story of the fisherman. And the fisherman, just like every other fisherman, he wakes up in the morning and he's planned his day already. Usually when you go fishing, you have to go really, really early in the morning. So this guy wakes up at 3 a.m. He gets all his gear ready. His wife's in the kitchen cooking him his meal, cooking him his, helping him get his gear ready as well. And he's out the door by 6 a.m. He says, honey, well, you know what? You don't have to worry about cooking us dinner because I'm going to bring back us a big, big, big meal. So he heads out the door, kisses his wife at 6 a.m., and he's on the road. And on the way to the area where he's going to be going fishing, he's going with his buddy today. They're going to have a great time. They're going to have a blast because fishing alone is great, but when you have two people, it's even better. So he picks up his friend. His friend takes about 15 minutes to half an hour to get outside the door. He's getting his stuff together. And finally, the friend gets in the car and they start heading out. And the friend says, "You know what? It's going to be a great day today, but I'm pretty hungry. Like, why don't we get some breakfast?" And the guy who's driving, he's like, "Okay, yeah, sure, yeah, let's get some breakfast." So they don't go through a drive-through. They decide to head into this not like a Denny's, some higher end breakfast spot. So they go in there, they sit there. The first thing they order is they have their coffee and they have their meal. Because it's a busier place and there's a lineup outside the door, they had to wait. And they finally get their meal and they start eating their meal. Now it takes them such a long time for them to get the bill. They finally get the bill and they start heading on their way. And it's about 8:30, 9 o'clock now. They start heading on their way. And their friend says, "Hey, you know what? Why don't we stop by the store? I heard they're having a huge sale. And let's get some fishing gear." So they say, "Okay, that's a great idea. If we get some more fishing gear, we'll definitely catch some more fish." So they head over to the store. They waste a few hours there just gathering gadgets, fish hooks, fishing rods, latest technology. And when they finally get out of there, it's been a couple. This store is huge. It's like 60, 80,000 square feet. And when they finally get out of there, they're already hungry again. So he says, "Hey, you know what? Why don't we grab some lunch?" So they go grab some lunch. They order their meal, and you know how long it usually takes to get lunch. They have a delicious meal. Their stomachs are stuffed and they're full. And they finally head out of there, and it's still a 2.5 hour drive to the spot where they want to go fishing. They're driving, having a beautiful drive, but they can tell time is ticking. Time is ticking. It's almost going to be 4:30 by the time they get there. And they know that the sun is going to be coming down, and the best time to be fishing it should have been earlier in the morning, and now they're going to catch less fish. But they think they can still make it. They finally get to the fishing hole. They have their boat. They gotta take it off and get it prepared for going in the water. And they finally get it in the water and they get all their equipment and they finally get it on the boat. And once they get in the boat, they push it out. It takes them a while to find a good place to actually go fishing. And now they're there. And now time's run out. Time's run out. They left so early in the morning, yet they were unable to catch any fish. They pack everything up, they head back, and they say, "You know what, let's grab dinner. We didn't catch anything today. Let's grab dinner before we head home." They have dinner on the way back. They head home. He drops off his friend, and when he finally arrives home, he opens the door. His wife's so excited to see him, and she's just imagining what her husband's gone through today and how she's going to cook such a good meal because it must have been so hard. The weather wasn't the best today, and it must have been really hard to catch a fish. And he gets home and he says, honey, I didn't catch any fish today." And she's just surprised. He's gone fishing before, but this has never happened. How could you catch no fish? She says. And he says, well, we just didn't catch any fish. She says, well, hold on one second. You left at around 5 to 6 a.m. And now it's 8 o'clock. How could you catch no fish? Well, he's like, honey, you know, when we left, we went to I grabbed my friend. That took a little bit of time. And then we had breakfast. And after that, we went to the fishing store. And then after that, we got really hungry. And then we decided to grab lunch. And it was a couple hour drive. And we finally got there. It got a little bit dark. And then after that, we had dinner. And then I came home and we just didn't catch any fish. She says, hold on one second. Since you left this morning, how long was your fishing line actually in the water? How long was it actually in the water for? Because that doesn't make any sense. You were gone this many hours and you caught no fish. He's like, oh, my line was only in there for about half an hour, 45 minutes. And I think you get the moral of this story. Because a lot of us, we think when we go to work and just putting in the hours is actually doing the hard work. When doing the hard work is not actually how many hours you put in, it's the activities that you do while you're at work. See, when you're at work, you need to have some sort of non-negotiable tasks that you do every single day. Because a lot of us, we're just like the fishermen. We're pretending like we're going out fishing, but we're wasting so much of our time. We're wasting so much of our time grabbing coffee, grabbing lunch, walking around, socializing, but we don't actually have our fishing line in the water. And for you to become the best salesperson ever, and if you want to level up in your career, you need to have activities that you're doing constantly on a daily basis that are going to push you to your goals. And when I was a salesperson, I had daily non-negotiable activities. Mine was doing 10 Facebook posts, 50 phone calls a day, and making sure I follow up with 10 of my previous clients, and also trying to sell 2 cars a day. Those are my daily non-negotiable tasks, and I would do whatever I could to try to achieve those. But what are your daily non-negotiable tasks? Are you just going to work just to work? Or are you going to work to actually do the real work, do the hard work, do the activities that you should be doing? Because if you're just going to work just to socialize, and you think, oh yeah, I'm going to work. I worked today. I started at 9, and you know what? I'm home at 7 o'clock today, honey. I worked really, really hard. Well, how many cars did you sell today? I didn't sell any. Okay, what were the things that you did? How long was your fishing line in the water before? Because even though you didn't sell anything, you might not made any money today. As long as you're doing the right activities, you are sowing those seeds for tomorrow. And you might not see the fruits of your labor today, but you're definitely going to see the fruits of your labor tomorrow. But you got to make sure you're doing the right activities. What are your daily non-negotiables? Do not be like that fisherman who had his line in the water for only half an hour. Make sure you're that fisherman that spends his whole day on the water but has his line in there all the time and is always fishing for food. Do the hard work even when you don't feel like it, alright guys? Make sure you subscribe and like to this channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.